Hi, today's video is also going to be a bit different. Today we'll be talking about online arguments. Now, you guys are Gen Z people. I am Gen Z, and we spend most of our times on laptops and phones and in the digital space on the internet, right? And today I'm going to talk about something that you will definitely encounter on the internet. I've encountered this multiple times, and being a creator, I receive a lot of comments, I receive a lot of lies about me, there are meme pages about me. Today I'll be telling you why arguing online is a waste of time. I'm pretty sure most of you might have gone to Twitter someday. Have you seen the sheer amount of stupidest and the vaguest claims that people make there? Like, you'll see the most random, unscientific, unproven claims on Twitter. They're very opinionated. But when you try to argue with those people, even they would come up with something that's very biased, and you would never win an argument over there. And to be honest, I was reading this article by the Irish Times and the New York Times, which said that it's impossible to win an online argument. Because even if you think that you're won, the other person can counterpoint with some sort of article or some vague claim, and the cycle just goes on. This is a very vicious cycle. When you counterpoint someone online, there are people who will be more than happy to debate with you. These guys are called trolls, right? So trolls are people who will be there on the internet 24/7, and their only job, their only aim in life is to be online and debate pointlessly with people by just texting them. They're also called keyboard warriors, right? And this type of argument, when you try to argue with such strangers online, it's a very negative thing, because as I said, it's a vicious cycle. And when you start debating with them, it becomes like a chain reaction, and in a way you'll find that you're wasting hours and hours online by just debating on something that doesn't even matter to you, right? And that too with a stranger whom you have never even met before. So I have personally, like 3 years back, I used to be, very active online, and I used to voice out my opinion whenever someone said something wrong or something that I didn't agree with. I used to comment. I used to be a keyboard warrior. I used to be very aggressive and show good research articles and be like, all right, you're wrong, I'm right. But then soon I realized that it's just pointless, and I'm wasting tons of my precious time in debating with some stranger on some nonsense. And online inhibition states that when people go online, they tend to be more intense than they would be in person. तो अगर किसी को अगर आपने ऑनलाइन में देखा होगा तो they'll be more narcissistic, वो ज़्यादा नेगेटिव रहेंगे, they'll be more ferocious, they'll be more angry compared to the real life person, right? ये मेरे साथ बहुत हुआ है. Like when I've debated with people on WhatsApp, and then when I meet them in real life, I'm like, excuse me, wait, this was the guy who was debating with me. ये तो real life में बात भी नहीं कर पाता मुझसे, and he's so active online. Right? So these keyboard warriors, I just do not feel that it's productive enough to have debates with them, especially online debates. But when it comes to arguments, when it comes to in-person arguments, या फिर call पे, I would definitely be up for it, right? You might have noticed this also. There are times when I WhatsApped people, and people have taken offense because of that WhatsApp message. And the reason is pretty simple. WhatsApp is like a text-based messaging platform, and it's really difficult to convey your feelings on WhatsApp. Like when you think that you're being funny, the other person might not think it's funny, because when you talk to someone in person, आप voice modulate कर सकते हो, you have your facial expressions, you have your body language, but when you text someone, they just cannot sense it. And that's why when I'm doing something serious, when I'm doing something that is humorous, I do not text it. I would just call up or maybe meet them in person. I think that's a better way of conveying your feelings and expressing yourself than texting someone on WhatsApp. Another problem with this is that we just do not know who is there online. Like whenever someone puts out a text or कोई opinion डाल दिया उन्होंने online, we tend to think that they are very serious about it, right? Because it's just text. You do not really know कि वो text का background क्या था, who is that person, what experiences did he go through because of which he has put out that opinion. We do not think about that. We just think about the text that he has posted, and that's all the context that we have about that person. So I think कि whenever we have something like that, if it's just a line of text, then that doesn't really have much meaning online. ठीक है, तो it's really a waste of time to argue with someone, some stranger who has just put out a text online. And this is how even I deal with hate comments, or there are meme pages about me, and it's totally fine. I appreciate it. It's very creative. Those memes are pretty cool. I'll put some over here. But when it comes to some lie about me, the best way to deal with such trolls is to just ignore them. And this is an advice for all of you guys as well. I've done a lot of research about it, about how to deal with people who hate on you, and the best advice that people have given is to just ignore. And I feel that's a really good way of moving forward. It's a really good way of not wasting your time and moving on and proving to people who you really are, instead of, talking to some stranger and wasting your time over there. So the next time you disagree with someone, I think a better way of approaching it, a better way of debating with them would be to know the background, know the context about why they have that particular opinion, right? And you can maybe call them up or maybe meet them and ask them, why did you type this? What experiences did you go through because of which you had to put out this opinion? And once you get a little bit of background, after that you can start debating with them. But I would say good debates always happen over phone or in person. So I do not believe in text-based debating. It's just gonna waste your time 99% of the time. And the strange part is there are so many trolls online that they will say something really vague and you will try to debate with them. And when you put out that debate, agar aapne unko reply kiya, they'll be more than happy, because they've been wanting a victim to debate with. They just want someone who counterpoints them, and then they'll say something pretty vague, then you also counterpoint them, and that's the feeling they are waiting for. That's what gets them excited. But when you look at it from a macroscopic view, you're just wasting your time. So I would say, just don't get involved with such people. Just ignore them, move on. Instead of wasting so much time online doing this, you can spend it on something very productive and something much, much better. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Now, by this, I do not mean that ignore whatever is happening in the world, do not have opinions. That's not what I mean. You should have opinions. It's good to have opinions. It's good to leave comments. It's good to, express your opinions. But my only point is that do not waste your time getting into pointless online arguments. It's just gonna be a waste of time. It's gonna be very unproductive. Instead, if you really want to debate with them, call them up or maybe have an in-person debate. Something like that would be much more productive and would teach you something. Because when you have in-person debates, that's when your real character comes out. On online, there are a lot of anonymous people, there are a lot of strangers, there are a lot of people who have an online identity, which is very different from their real life identity. So my point is, do not waste 3-4 hours debating with strangers online. Spend it otherwise, spend it on good places, spend on places like Clinify community, that's the community that we run, spend it in places like Avalon Army, that's a community that Varun runs. These are all very healthy communities where you'll actually learn something. And being part of communities, being with like-minded people who would actually teach you something, who would actually take you to a better position in life, would bring you much more value than just being stranded on the internet and not knowing what to do and then debating with random people. So that's pretty much it. That's something that I wanted to voice out. I know that a lot of Gen Z people, a lot of millennials would get stuck in this loop, would get stuck in this vicious cycle where they just go on texting on Twitter, where they just get into this argumentative mood. And I've been there, I have done that, and I feel it's a waste of time. I shouldn't have done that in the past. And finally, remember, you have a very short span of time to live on this planet Earth. You're living a beautiful life. Homo sapiens are one of the most privileged species on Earth. You aren't a normal monkey which doesn't do much. You're a social being, you live in a community, you live in an amazing environment, and you're a human for a very short span. I'm already 20. And I feel I'm getting old, right? You have such less time to live. And when you have so much less time to live, just ask yourself, do you want to waste time on the internet, on really pointless things, on things that aren't really bringing you value, on things that are making you sad and more anxious? Is that what you want to do? Or do you want to spend that time elsewhere and, talking to people and building deep relationships with real people? Is that what you want to do, or just debate with strangers? It's a question, you give the answer. By the way, comment down when was the last time you went into this vicious cycle of debating with people online? When was the last time when people spoke against you and then you start speaking against them? It'll be fun to know. Leave them down below and let me know what you think about it. If you have different strategies of approaching such problems, and I'll be more than happy to know about it. And I'll agree to disagree. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow.